Alright, I have now watched all 4 hours of the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League, and in summary, unfortunately I have to say, it just feels like a really bad Avengers movie, and in this video, I'll explain why. So one disclaimer, I really wanted to like this movie. I love Batman, I love the Christopher Nolan trilogy, but unfortunately this movie just seemed to miss the mark the way Batman vs. Superman missed the mark, the way Suicide Squad missed the mark, the way Wonder Woman 1984 missed the mark. All the DC movies just seem to be a little bit off, and one of the reasons is they seem to rush everything. So where Marvel had all the individual movies lead up to a big team up in the Avengers, this movie had everything come together at all these different plot points without each character having that individual movie to establish who they are in the first place. Before I get into the actual plot of the movie, one of my biggest complaints is how much slow motion they have throughout the film. Nearly every fight scene is in slow motion, and even this one football play that is shown is entirely in slow-mo. The average NFL play takes 4 seconds, and I timed this in the Justice League, and from snap to the referee signaling touchdown, it takes 1 minute and 2 seconds. To put that in perspective, this final slow-mo play from Friday Night Lights, which is an actual football movie, is only 36 seconds in its entirety. When the movie's already 4 hours long, some of this could definitely be cut, but more importantly, it took away from the necessary and awesome slow-mo scenes like The Flash, which would have stood out even more without the rest. But let's forget the slow-mo for now. The bigger problem is that the characters in the plot seem way too similar. So let's take the plot of each movie. In Avengers, the main plot is Thanos, a purple villain with gold armor trying to collect 6 Infinity Stones, and if he could collect them all, he could use them together to end half of all life in the universe. In Justice League, the plot is for a purple villain with gold armor Steppenwolf to collect 3 Mother Boxes, that if he collects them all, he could use them together to destroy the universe. So while Thanos comes to Earth and sees the good guys and says things like, Steppenwolf then comes to Earth, sees the good guys, and says things like, Defenders. My main issue with the villain situation is that one villain, Thanos, basically gets his own movie to explain and justify his behavior. You know why he's trying to take things over, because his planet was overrun by overpopulation. But on the flip side, with Steppenwolf and Darkseid, they just kind of want to take over the world just to take it over. And this leads us to the superheroes. Where Marvel had individual movies leading up to the team up, Justice League was still introducing you to the characters throughout the movie. So this really took a lot of time and made the movie longer, but also took time away from the plot and the villain. Anyway, in order to stop the villain in each movie, a billionaire, playboy, genius philanthropist whose parents were murdered and has no superpowers relies entirely on their suit, technology, intelligence, and their assistant with a British accent. They have to assemble a team of superheroes to defend Earth and avenge their past while pulling off sweet moves like this. And now for something you can't unsee. Alright, this has nothing to do with the current conversation, but someone please try and tell me that Darkseid's parademons don't look exactly like the grandpa from Courage the Cowardly Dog. And now back to our regular scheduled programming. So in Avengers, Iron Man takes on a young, quirky, comedic superhero who, when confronted with video evidence, denies that it's him. Eventually he agrees to help, and when meeting other members of the team, introduces himself in awkward fashion.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, here's your made-up names. I'm Spider-Man then.
This is basically the same as Batman taking on the Flash, who's a young, quirky, comedic superhero who, when confronted by photographic evidence, denies that it's him. He eventually agrees to help, and when meeting other members of the team, introduces himself in awkward fashion.
You must be Barry. I'm Diana.
Hi, Barry. I'm Diana. That's not right.
Important side note, I do think the Flash was the best character in the Justice League in terms of charisma and being fun. So it's hard to pick on him, but again, so similar to Spider-Man. So up next we have Thor and Aquaman. With Thor we have the God of Thunder, a ripped bearded badass who wields a hammer, has an attitude problem in terms of working with others. He loves to drink, and he seems to be obsessed with this move. Instead of the god of thunder, in Justice League you have Aquaman, who's the king of the sea, a ripped, bearded badass who has an attitude problem when it comes to working with others. He loves to drink, and also seems to love that slow-mo duck. Alright, up next we have Avengers Vision and Justice League Cyborg. I think it's a pretty obvious comparison, but let's go through it anyway. In Avengers, Tony and Bruce use one of the Infinity Stones to build Vision, an android who has near unlimited artificial intelligence, who can hack into anything, has unbelievable strength, can fly, and has a stone living in the middle of his forehead. This is basically the same character as Cyborg, who is mostly machine but part human, after his father uses one of the mother boxes to build him so that he can survive. And just for good measure, with the power of the box, he has near unlimited artificial intelligence, can hack into anything, has unbelievable strength, can fly, and has a stone from the box right in the middle of his forehead. And up next, we have Wonder Woman. She's basically Captain Marvel, the strongest of the heroes of near unlimited strength and power, as well as movie scores. She's actually one of the bright spots for DC, as I think the casting is absolutely perfect. But do they have to play her theme song every single time she shows up on screen? It gets way too repetitive. And here I would actually argue that Wonder Woman's a way better character in general and has more storyline potential than Captain Marvel. But Wonder Woman 1984 was such a mess that it really took away some of the appeal of the character, especially when one of the main villains was a literal cat. Regardless, Wonder Woman, in my opinion, has been one of the bright spots in the team-up movies for DC. Superman didn't really feel like he was a big part of the movie, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it here. But what I will say is that this felt very similar to Batman vs. Superman in terms of wasted storylines. I think that Superman vs. the Justice League could have been a big storyline, much similar to how Batman vs. Superman, you had Doomsday, you had Lex Luthor, you had the death of Superman. You had so many major plot points where it just felt like they crammed as much in as possible. It really diluted it. And then when you have Superman come back to life, he was just in the movie before, so it didn't feel like as much of a big deal, and it could have been a really cool moment for DC had they built it up the right way. On top of so many of the characters feeling similar, here are some moments in the movie that felt way too similar to the Avengers. So because Thanos used the Infinity Stones again, they're able to track the Infinity Stones to Thanos, and Captain America says this.
Let's go get this son of a bitch.
So because Cyborg's dad was able to put tracking on one of the mother boxes, they're able to track down Steppenwolf, and Cyborg says this.
Let's go find this son of a bitch.
Why? Why? Now, we all remember how funny it was in Thor Ragnarok when they had Matt Damon play one of the actors in Loki's play. Well, why didn't DC just hire Matt Damon to do the same thing in Justice League as one of Aquaman's people in this scene? Where have I seen that before? In both movies, you have people giving away vital information against their will via hologram. You have similar imagery with Thanos and Ronan, as well as Darkseid and Steppenwolf. And honestly, at this point, this might as well be Hydra. And again, just from a timing standpoint, everything in this movie felt like it was either in super speed or it was in unbelievable slow motion. There is so much slow-mo, and it overshadows the cool flash moments when they're in slow-mo, because literally every other character is in slow-mo half the time. So was this movie absolutely horrible? No, it was actually a lot better than the original, but I think if it was in the Marvel Universe, it would be a disappointment. It's 4 hours long, they don't really make you care too much about the characters, and no one really feels like they're in danger, even though they should be at any moment in this film. So again, where Marvel succeeded with individual build-ups leading to the team-ups, Justice League shoved every storyline they could into one movie, and it showed. So you can definitely check it out, but if you're going to spend 4 hours of your time watching something DC related, you may want to check out movies like The Joker or TV shows like Titans. And speaking of the show Titans, if you switched out Ben Affleck as Daredevil with Hawk, I honestly don't think anyone would know the difference. Alright, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like and subscribe. I have like 2 followers, so maybe I'll have like 4 or 5 followers after this video. But please do that. And again, all the copyright and all the videos and credit, all that will be in the credits as well as the information section. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Signing off.